Hello, fabulous architecture people. I have asked you to explore this app, Sketchbook, and I have to say that I have just started using it myself. So this tutorial is probably going to be a little bumpy, but you can see that I have a drawing here that resembles building, and I developed this based on the photo that one of the photos I took. So I'm going to bring you back to where I started. I'm going to open up my document that has all the layers in it because I merged those down, and you will see where I started with my photo. So I'm going to turn off all these layers. Open. Thank you. I changed the opacity. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to choose one of your photos. You're going to bring it into Sketchbook, just like I did here. And when you bring it in, it's going to be on the bottom layer. And I'm going to just change the opacity so that it's not so intense. And I started to draw over it. So my first step was to isolate just the front of each of my boxes, because remember that this, let me make sure I have my color right. Okay, good. Imagine that this is one story. And one of the things that I want you to think about is, what is your basis of the height? Okay, I'm gonna make sure that I have my opacity up. Here's my size. I'm trying to draw on this. Oh, I am locked. That's why it didn't work. Okay, here we go. So let me test my pencil on the side here. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker so you can see it. So imagine that this is a standard height of a one-story building. And for our purposes, we're going to say that the height of the building is 10 feet. So you're going to choose one thing to be your standard that's going to dictate the proportions of each thing. So that's 10 feet. And so let's think about that being a person. So if you're 5 feet tall, this is how big you are, right? So you kind of get an idea. So if I was going to start putting doors in there, a door is going to be about 8 feet, which is about up to here. So here's a standard issue door in this space. So that's how I want you to think about size. Figure out how tall your structure is and how big a person's going to be, and then think about how big a door is going to be. So I am vertically challenged, as you know. So I'm 5'4", so I'm a little bit taller than that. But this would be, if this is 5 foot, then this is about 7.5. So you just kind of want to eyeball where that door would be. All right, so it's not exact. These are sketches. These are just, to get you started. We're thinking out of the box. So from there, I start to add the other box. I've drawn a line here to indicate where that ends. And then you're going to start to see how I get rid of this. Like, I'm going to ignore this. This is not going to be here. This is not going to be here. I just want the face of those buildings. Let me back out of that, get rid of those. Okay, so from there, next step, I traced this box here, but I lined it so that it's on top of this structure, because remember, it's a face. You're drawing the face of the building. And you're not drawing any perspective lines. Everything is just the front view. Next step, I move up and I start drawing around my triangle shapes here. And I'm going to zoom in. You can see how I have inside here, I join them. I started to alter it, and I start manipulating this to make it look like it's something real. I started adding windows inside of that. Let me get rid of my photo now so you can see what's happening. You can see that I started adding windows inside, and I'm missing that outside line for that cereal box. Let's see, where did I put that? I think I might have inadvertently deleted that. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let me get rid of that photo for you. There it is, the whole structure. So I started with that photo and ended up with this structure. And one of the tools that I told you to play around with was this precision tool, which is up here. It's the squiggly line, and you can change the level of how much it alters your line. So if I were to draw a triangle inside this structure for the window without the precision tool, and it's kind of crooked, you can see I don't have a great stylus. That's what it would look like. If I use the precision tool and I draw that, if I bring it up and stop, it automatically straightened it out. Draw a line and stop, it straightens it out. So you can see how that tool really helps draw straight lines. Sometimes you don't want straight lines. You want them to be loose, kind of like that line there. You don't want it to be precise because it is a sketch. So I added these tall windows inside the cereal box, which is now the back structure. So now I need to start asking myself, how tall is this building really? If this is 10 feet and this is 10 feet, that's 2 stories. And then so this is about 4 stories high. That's a really, really tall building. It's almost like a 4-story walk up in the city. But that's okay because we're in fantasy land. So this is my house, and I'm thinking I live on a mountain or overlooking beautiful water. So now I need to start thinking about what my next steps are. I added a door here before when we started. I do need to think about where is the door, because typically the door is the focal point. So I want you to start thinking about what that looks like. You're going to need an entrance, which is your focal point, and then you can start thinking about what rooms are what. And that's why I had you do that exercise of that X-ray vision and looking in a house, like what are the rooms. So if these rooms on the bottom typically are going to be your living room, your kitchen, and what have you, I'm not going to want to do that for this house. I want that to actually be the bedroom. So there's going to be fewer windows down here as I start to design. All the windows are going to be up here. That's the living space. And all of this needs to be figured out. I need to zoom in and figure out, okay, if this is a bedroom down here, maybe those windows are high up that you can't actually see right out of them or in them, because the front of the house may be facing the street. However, if this is the back of the house and it's facing the water, that's a whole different story. So you need to think about, what side of the house is it that you're designing? Where is it? And then from there, after you're done with this, you're going to do the side elevation. That's why I had you do 2 pictures. So you're going to finish putting all your windows and doors in all these face elevations. Remember, I said this from the side. I know this is actually underneath. If you remember the photo I took, there's that photo. That was that cool patio area that I was telling you about. So there's a patio under there that it's has an overhang, which I think is pretty cool. And from this elevation, you can't tell that. What I'll have to do though is I'll have to add some steps. So there's my steps, and the steps literally are just straight lines moving forward. Do the best you can in showing your different windows, your doors, steps, balconies. If you have a balcony, it's going to need a railing. So remember, I talked about this actually having some doors that go off, and that maybe this is the balcony that you walk out on. If that's the case, then I'm going to need a railing. And I still have my precision tool on, which is helping me draw these straight lines. What kind of railing you want is up to you. That's a traditional looking railing. If I wanted a glass railing, more modern, it would have some kind of posts like this holding it up. And then it would have that glass would be, or plexiglass would be in the middle, and I could indicate glass by putting those little diagonal lines to make it look like glass. So since you're not doing a perspective drawing, because if you were doing a perspective drawing, you'd start to have to do something like this. You'd have to choose a vanishing point, and you'd have to start drawing all these sides. And we're not doing that. The next step is to actually go in and get that other photo and put it next to it and draw the same thing over all these boxes. And you're going to see how everything starts to line up. So I'm going to show you how to do that in the next tutorial. So for now, I want you to get your photo in and then start drawing over all your boxes. Remember, they have to line up, right? They're sitting right on top of each other. So if this is the first story, then this is the second story. It's sitting right on top of the other one. This is behind this. These triangular pieces are sitting on top of this. These windows are a part of this structure here. Okay, so have fun with it. I can't wait to see your exciting, unique WorldCraft projects. And if you're getting caught up with your APs and stuff like that, just be sure to shoot me an email and let me know what's happening. And I will send you the next tutorial tomorrow. Have a great day.